Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. This is Addis Dialogue from Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation. 84 years ago, May 5 marked the commemoration of Ethiopia's Patriots Day. Ethiopians took unflinching stand against the foreign aggressors, the Italian fascists. Ethiopians came together from all walks of life. They defended their motherland because of their patriotic nature. Ethiopia was a member of League of Nations and yet invaded by Italy. Italy was also a member of League of Nations. Why did it happen so? In today's program, we will see and examine the trajectory of the incident and its future aspect, not only for Ethiopia, across Africa as well. My guest for today is a military historian, member of the Governing Council of Ethiopia, Association of the Ethiopian Patriots, Mr. Tilahun Tassew. I'm your host, Gzachoder. Do stay with us. Mr. Tilahun Tassew, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Good. Let's start our discussion. Why do we mark May 5 as Ethiopia's Patriots Day?
We used to celebrate it as a victory day over fascism. Then it was changed to Patriots Day long ago, but last year the Ethiopian Parliament has reinstated it as Patriots Day and in parentheses, Victory Day. It is a victory day over fascism.
A victory day over fascism.
Over fascism. Many people misunderstand the defining characteristics of the Second Ethio-Italian War. Some, and even the pro-fascists, try to consider it as a short-lived colonial war. But it was not a colonial war. It was a war between two members of the League of Nations. The League of Nations was established after the First World War as a new world order, and every nations which are members of the League of Nations were expected to support anybody which is conquered by any member country. So when Italy invaded Ethiopia, it was in contravention to the covenant of the League of Nations. Yeah. So the League of Nations stood up with Ethiopia, and from the finish to the start, didn't recognize Ethiopia's occupation by Italy.
By Italy?
Yeah. So the emperor also never abandoned his throne. Even the Italians and the Europeans, he didn't do it. So Ethiopia remained a free country even during that time. So it is a victory against fascism. We celebrated it on May 5. Then in Europe and Russia, worldwide, it is celebrated in May 8 and 9. Okay?
3 days after Ethiopia's Victory Day.
Yeah. Ethiopia was the first country to fall under the yoke of fascism. It was also the first country to be liberated by its patriots and with the Allied forces, the Commonwealth countries, Britain, from the yoke of fascism. It was the first country, the first victory of the Allied powers over the Axis powers, Germany, Italy. Italy didn't join at that time, okay? Germany and Japan at that time. It is an occasion which joins us with the worldwide struggle against fascism and Nazism during the Second World War. Later on, we joined the Second World War in 1942 and became members of the Allied powers. As members of the Allied powers, we became the founding members of the United Nations organizations, because it was only the Allied powers which came together to form the United Nations organization. So our history, it is a local struggle against fascism. It is also an international struggle, and which helped the outcome of the New World Order, which replaced the First World Order, which was established after the First World War.
Since the end of the First World War, League of Nations came into being, and until the eve of Second World War, 1939, and until the inception of the United Nations, 1945. Ethiopia was a member of the Allied Powers and signed an agreement in 1942. Would you tell us the trajectory, the historical trajectory since the inception of the League of Nations up to the 1942 when Ethiopia joined the Allied Powers?
Some people understand the patriotic protracted struggle as a guerrilla fighting.
Guerrilla fighters.
It is not a guerrilla fighting. Guerrilla fighting is not its defining characteristics. In the first instances, when Italy invaded Ethiopia from the east, from the Ogaden, Wolwol incident,
Yeah.
and when it invaded from the north, when it bombarded the city of Adwa, then Ethiopia declared war, but Italy did it without declaring war, because as a member of the League of Nations, it cannot do it. It will immediately have been condemned as an aggressor. So during that time, the emperor established some guerrilla units who will fight the Italians in their camps and then retreat and join the conventional army and conduct conventional armies struggle, conventional war. From the end of the First World War, Ethiopia was not able to import armaments. There was an embargo. So we were forced mainly to fight with the arms we have during the Battle of Adwa. During the Battle of Adwa, our artillery hits at the distance of 4,500 meters. But the Italians' artilleries were 3.8 kilometers. Their range was 3.8 kilometers. It was the same with our machine guns. Since we were under embargo, we were not allowed to import any weapons. The Ethiopian government recognized that we have to change the struggle to a protracted patriotic resistance.
But some argued that His Imperial Majesty was in exile and he was not in a position to administer Ethiopian, and Italian aggressors or fascist Italians were here in Ethiopia, but they couldn't withstand the challenges from the patriots at that time, according to literatures. Was that true? Did he abandon his throne?
The departure of the emperor and his establishment of the government in exile was a policy decision. This decision was made public to Haddis Alamayehu, as I started earlier to tell you, because Ras Emru was to send him to the Sudan to buy some materials and then return through Gambela.
Okay, Western Ethiopia.
So he told him that we are entering protracted patriotic war. That is a month or 20-some days prior to the Battle of Maichau. Do you see? Before the Battle of Maichau, where we find the emperor fighting using machine guns and rifles. So we see him in the battlefield. But it is already decided that the protracted patriotic war will be reverted, that will revert to the patriotic resistance warfare. But this was made public to the military commanders immediately after the Battle of Maichau. In the Battle of Maichau, there is, around the area where the Battle of Maichau was conducted, there is a cave called Ba'atawayo Cave.
A cave, okay.
In that cave, an assembly of the political Ethiopian elites and the military commanders were gathered together, and the military commanders were briefed about the protracted patriotic war of resistance. Then when the emperor returned to Addis Ababa, it was made public to the public.
To the public, okay.
To public servants. So the emperor assigned the military units in all different parts of the country.
How did Ethiopian patriots of the then Ethiopian patriots recorded such a resounding victory against fascist Italians?
the protracted patriotic war has 3 stages.
Okay.
The first stage was all the patriots who were assigned throughout the Ethiopia. Say you find the Jazmach Ayaleo returning from the Battle of Maichau. He is in Gondar. The others are in Gojam. Ras Hailu, the emperor took Ras Hailu to Doredoa, and he made him to promise to clandestinely help the patriots. So he returned back as a clandestine army, and the Ethiopian army in the south, led by Ras Desta, was active. It was returning back. Yeah. You have Ras Kasasans here in Semen Shoa, Oromia now. You have Ras Kabada in Semen Shoa now, in Amara region. So these were all assigned by the emperor.
And they have also meeting of mind. They can communicate each other. They convey message each other.
No, they were ordered to attack cities in order to help to assist the diplomatic struggle of the emperor in Europe. So they try to attack Addis Ababa. They attack Addis Ababa during the summer, the winter time. You remember?
Yeah.
Well, also they attack small towns in order to support the diplomatic struggle of the emperor. Then February 19 massacre happened. It was organized to create, to support that the Ethiopian patriotic resistance was alive. It was to show that, but its consequences was so tragic. There was a need to change the tactics, the strategy of the patriotic war. So the emperor ordered a new strategy. The second stage was to encircle the Italians in the cities and in their camps. And when they try to attack the patriots getting out of cities and from their camps, then the Ethiopian armies communicate with each other, and they put them in a circle and they fight them and they force them to retreat back.
Okay.
So in Amharic books, which tells about the patriotic war, always the patriots narrate battles. The battles of Walmara, the battles of because the Italians move out of the town and the camps in hundreds, in thousands, in 100,000s, and then they try to attack them. But since now the patriots are entrenched in the rural areas, they are farming in the peacetime. But when the Italian army comes, say, to attack Ras Ababa, then everybody was communicated through mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
Communicated. So
system.
every patriot leaves his farm works and then goes to encircle the Italians, and they encircle them. All those 100,000
Italian soldiers were
defeated, many were killed. The Ethiopians might lose 3 or 5 patriots.
What about the third stage of the...
The third stage starts when the emperor comes with the Commonwealth army.
Haile Selassie, His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie said, today we get invaded, tomorrow it will be you.
Yeah.
Actually, it becomes true. The struggle against fascism also went to the Southeast Asia because the Chinese province of Manchuria was also occupied. Look how the protracted systems of the axis of powers were on the verge of Second World War's war on their side, and Allied powers are also getting ready and aware of the fact that such groups were organizing themselves and orchestrating themselves against the entire global war. How do you see that?
Germany, Italy, and Japan were all members of the League of Nations.
Indeed, yeah.
But at the end of the Second World War, they felt that they were justice was done to them. Woodrow Wilson, the American president, thought that wars should end in a condition where both sides win, or in a win-win condition. But it didn't end in that way. Germany lost its colonies in Africa. Italy was not happy. Mussolini started to invade Ethiopia. So in that sense, it is breaking the covenant of the League of Nations. And Ethiopia stood with the principles of the League of Nations. It argued for collective security that is embedded in the covenant of the League of Nations. So they began to struggle. So that new world order was established, as you say, as the emperor predicted. But at that time, there was a British cartoonist, David Law. David Law. On the Evening Post, he drew a cartoon which shows Mussolini opening up the globe.
Which means the Pandora box.
The Pandora box, opening it, the Pandora box. As he predicted it, invading Ethiopia was opening the Pandora box. So it ended that any world order emerged after the Second World War.
Ethiopia's fight was a fight which equates Ethiopia with the Allied powers, UK, China, Russia, the then Soviet Union, and United States, the then global powers. Ethiopia was in that circle as well.
The Allied powers were about 140 something. Ethiopia and France were included in the Allied powers at the same time. As member of the Allied powers, it became the founding member of the United Nations organizations, because the United Nations organization was established by members of the Allied powers. That is why Ethiopia became the founding member
of
and Ndalkacho Mokonnen is the one who signed Ethiopia's membership during the San Francisco Conference. In the Pan-African context, Ethiopia's role is very big. Even during the second Italo-Ethiopian War, Ethiopian World Federation has played a very great role in supporting Ethiopian cause. The Rastas are members of the Ethiopian World Federation. It has many branches worldwide. But the Pan-African movement started with Ethiopia. Mainly, it was Emperor Menelik was influenced by Ellis, who came as American representative, bringing the signed document of the American-Ethiopian trade agreement. He introduced the Monroe Doctrine of American for Americans to Menelik, and he urged him to adopt the African for Africans doctrine, Menelik's doctrine, and Emperor Haile Selassie followed that tradition.
That tradition and that pace.
Yeah, and that tradition also started during the era of Emperor Yohannes. Emperor Yohannes also wrote the Mahdi state, the Mahdi of the Sudan state, that were sons of Kam, were of similar race. Why don't we fight the Europeans together? But that one didn't accept it because the British promising him to give him the Metsoba port.
The Hewitt Treaty.
Yeah, the Hewitt Treaty. So the Mahdistas were angry about that. So the Ethiopian people were tired of the revolutionary traditions of Emperor Theodorus. So he let them pass. They returned the Emperor Theodorus, but they didn't try to remain in Ethiopia. Because already it was demonstrated to them that at any moment, if they tried to continue such an affair, that similar encirclements will be done.
The February 2025's bulletin of the Association of Ethiopia's Patriots, according to the cover page of this, which I'm seeing now, I champion my country. How do you describe, besides the Victory Day that we are celebrating today, the patriots of Ethiopians as compared to other patriots? We can take Chinese patriots, UK's patriots, or whatever country's patriots we may name it. How do you see I champion my country? What does it mean?
Any patriot from any country champions his own country. As an Ethiopian patriot, champions his country's government, his country's tradition, his economic structure, and any patriot is willing to sacrifice himself to defend the values of his country.
What is the significance of being patriot, even for the current generation of Ethiopians or for the current generations of Africans?
You cannot build a nation or a country without being patriot. And patriotism, you create it through history. People have to be taught about their flag, about their country's histories. If you see, when patriotic people write history, they write their objective is to create unity, to create loyalty to the country. But when revolutionaries write books, they want to
dismantle
the existing structure. So they are against their government, they are against the economic system, the political structure, everything. The patriot always aims for his country's well-being, for its advancement. And it compares to other countries in order to excel it, to excel others. The revolutionary usually mimics other countries.
Other countries.
It's one tradition.
Any points you wanted to add before we conclude our discussion? Any points you wanted to add, especially for the upcoming generation, for the younger generation, to be patriot, for the prosperous Africa, for the prosperous Ethiopia, and for peaceful coexistence at continental level even?
Yeah, for continental level now, we are returning to the old era in Europe too. Now America is also turning to the Monroe Doctrine of America for Americans. And Europe is also trying to emulate it, and then Europe for Europeans.
So Africa for Africans.
I think we have to revert to Munich's doctrine of Africa for Africans. So in that sense, we have to find a solution in our history, which is one is Africa for Africans, the Pan-African movements, our struggle in creating the African Union, in being founding member of the United Nations. We have all to teach our children about their history so that they will be proud about it, and then they become patriots.
Good. Military historian, member of the General Council of the Association of Ethiopian Patriots, Mr. Tilahun Tassew, thank you very much for your time and for your
for giving me this opportunity.
This is a common victory and a common victory day, not only for Ethiopians but also for Africans as well. Thank you.
Also for the world. Let us congratulate them, the Europeans, who celebrate their victory over fascism on May 8th. And Russia, along with the other countries, also will celebrate its victory over fascism and Nazism. So we should congratulate each other as allied powers.
So we fight the same fight and a just war and a just fight. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, by this we come to the end of today's show. As we have discussed thoroughly in our program, the Victory Day for Ethiopia, which we commemorate on the 5th of May, also echoed across Europe on the 8th and 7th of May as well. So it is beyond historical event. Thank you for being with us. You can follow us on different social media platforms of Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation. Goodbye for now.